Chosen one, my child, stop everything you are doing and hear me, because what I am about to say to you did not fall into your life by accident. A surprise is arriving at your door, not as a figure of speech, not as a pretty idea to make you feel better for a moment and then forget by morning, but as something real. Someone or something that I have been quietly arranging for a long time is about to walk into your life. And when it does, everything shifts. So, do not treat this, my beloved, the way you have treated 100 other messages that slid past your eyes this week without ever touching the deep place in you that has been waiting. This one was not meant for a crowd, it was meant for you. And I need you to understand how it even reached you, my child, because it was not supposed to be easy to find. Something worked against it arriving. Something moved to bury it under the noise of your life, to let it disappear before it could ever reach the part of you that is listening right now. But you stopped. You opened it. And that single decision, that quiet act of staying still when everything in your life has trained you to keep moving, is already being written down in heaven as the moment you turn toward the word I have been holding for you. Most of the people scrolling tonight will never reach these words. My beloved, you did. That was not chance, and it was not luck. That was arranged before you ever pressed play. And if there is a stillness settling over you right now, a quiet in your chest that was not there a minute ago, I do not want you to explain it away. That stillness is not nothing, my child. That is the part of you that already knows why you are here, finally being given permission to stop moving. So do not rush past it. Beloved, let it stay. Because this is not just another message. This is the preparation you have needed for an encounter I have already set in motion. And I do not want the noise of your life to carry you off before I have finished telling you what is coming. Let me name the thing you have been feeling, but could never explain, my child. For a while now, you have been restless. Not the restlessness of anxiety, though it has worn that costume more than once and fooled you into treating it like a problem to be solved. A different kind, a sense that you are supposed to be somewhere you have not yet arrived. That you are meant to meet someone whose face you cannot quite see. You have felt it in quiet moments and dismissed it as your imagination. You have felt it in crowded rooms and wondered why some part of you kept scanning for a person you did not recognize. Hear me now, beloved. That restlessness is not a flaw in you, and it is not something broken that needs fixing. It is anticipation, my beloved. Your spirit senses what your mind has not yet been given the language to explain. In the realm you cannot see with your eyes, this meeting has already happened. And now it is making its way step by step out of the unseen and into your physical reality. If your breathing just slowed as I said that, if something in your chest eased even slightly, that is not random, my child. That is recognition arriving before your mind has words for it. If you felt it, type I feel it coming in the comments. Not as a wish and not as a hope you are afraid to say out loud, but as the first honest thing your spirit has said in a long while. Now let me tell you who this is, my child, because your mind is already trying to make it smaller and more familiar than it is. This is not someone from your past resurrecting. This is not an old relationship circling back to finish what it started and reopen a wound you finally learned to live with. This is not a face you already know dressed up as a surprise. Hear me clearly, my beloved. This is someone new, someone I have been preparing in a different place, through different circumstances, inside a life that has been unfolding entirely apart from yours, so that what you carry and what they carry, when the two are finally brought together, create something that neither of you could ever build alone. And I want to free you from the smallness of your assumptions, because this is not necessarily the shape your heart keeps reaching for in the dark. It is not necessarily romantic at all, beloved. It might be a partner, It might be a mentor who sees the thing in you that no one else has ever been able to name. It might be someone carrying a specific piece of information you have needed for a very long time. It might be someone who opens a door you did not even know existed. It might be someone who speaks one sentence, one ordinary sentence over a cup of coffee, that unlocks a decade of confusion in a single instant. Isaiah 43:19 says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it?" The new thing is not a recycled version of an old thing, my child. It is new. So do not go looking backward for what I am bringing forward. And I know part of you is quietly bracing right now, beloved, because hoping has cost you before, and a wounded heart learns to flinch at good news. Before you go any further, stay close to me. If my voice is reaching you right now, follow this channel and turn on the reminder so that when I speak again, you will not miss the moment. You have waited too long to walk away right when I'm beginning to answer. Now let me show you something you have never seen, my child, because you cannot fully receive this surprise until you understand how long I have been preparing for it. You have been looking at your life and counting your losses, adding up the endings and the empty seasons as though they were the whole story. But I have been keeping a different record. Every relationship that ended was not simply a failure. It was clearing space, my beloved. Every door that closed in your face, closing so quietly that you eventually stopped even asking why, was eliminating a distraction that would have crowded the room when the real thing arrived. Every disappointment you swallowed was adjusting your expectations, sharpening your ability to recognize what is genuine when it finally stands in front of you, so that you would not be fooled again. Every night of loneliness that felt like punishment was doing something you could not see, my child. It was creating a hunger in you for real connection, so that you would stop settling for the counterfeit, so that you would no longer mistake being wanted for being valued or confuse attention with devotion. And every single time you wanted to give up but got up instead and carried your life forward anyway, you were building the endurance you were going to need for everything that comes after this meeting. Because hear me, my beloved, this encounter is not the destination. This encounter is only the beginning of what comes next. And do not think for a moment that any of this preparation has been careless or accidental, my child. I have been orchestrating this for a long season, longer than you have been aware of it, positioning every detail with a patience you could not see. Heaven did not merely watch your waiting, beloved. Heaven recorded it. Every faithful morning you chose to rise when staying down would have been so much easier. Every prayer you whispered into the dark when your strength was gone and you were certain no one was listening. Every time you kept your heart tender when bitterness would have been the simpler road. All of it is written in the record. And the record does not lie. And the record does not expire. I have been arranging the coordinates of this meeting the way a patient hand arranges 1,000 small pieces, moving one circumstance here, closing one door there, delaying a thing so that another could ripen, until at last the moment and the two of you would finally align. Nothing about this is random, my beloved. It has been built, and I want you to understand something that is going to change how you read your entire waiting season, my child. Because it is one of the deepest secrets I am telling you tonight. While I was working on you, I was working on them too. My beloved, you were being prepared, and so were they separately, simultaneously, in a different location, through circumstances that have nothing at all to do with yours. I have been moving in their life the very same way I have been moving in yours, and neither of you has known it. The same hand that was closing your wrong doors was closing theirs. The same patience that was forming you was forming them. The same disappointments that were purifying your expectations were purifying theirs in a life you have never glimpsed so that when you finally meet, you will each arrive shaped, ready, and free of the things that would have ruined it. Proverbs 16 verse 9 says, "A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps." You have devised many plans in your waiting, and so have they, beloved. But I have been directing both sets of steps quietly, invisibly, toward a single convergence point, moving two lives that have never once met, toward a moment that heaven has already marked. Neither of you engineered this, beloved. Neither of you could. That is exactly how you will know it was me. If something in you steadies as you hear that, if a quiet certainty rises even before your mind agrees to it, type "I am ready" in the comments. Say it as someone who has decided to stop bracing for disappointment and start preparing for the appointment. And I know how hard it is to trust a thing you cannot see, my child. You have been asked to believe in a work that has left no evidence you could hold in your hands, in a person whose face has not yet appeared, in a timing you cannot confirm on any calendar. But hear me, beloved. The absence of proof was never the absence of movement. Beneath the surface of these quiet months, more has been happening than in all the loud years that came before them. On their side of this, my child, in a life running parallel to yours, that very same faithful work has been unfolding, and they have had to trust it blind, just as you have. Two people in two different places learning the same lesson at the same time, that I am faithful even when I am silent, and that I am working even when nothing shows on the surface. When the two of you finally meet, my child, you will each recognize that lesson living in the other, and it will be one of the very first things that quietly draws you together. I have not been careless with you, my child, and I have not been careless with them. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." There is a season to this, beloved. There has been a time for the waiting, and now there is a time for the arriving, and the two are not the same, and you are crossing from one into the other. And I want to loosen the grip of the clock on you because I know your mind wants a date it can circle and a number it can count down. Let me tell you only this. It is soon, my beloved. It is in the days just ahead. This is the season. It is closer than you think, and it is coming sooner than the tired part of you that has given up on hoping wants to believe. I am not going to hand you an hour to count down because this was never about a deadline, and a heart braced against a stopwatch cannot receive a gift. It was always about readiness. So do not spend your strength calculating when. Spend it becoming ready, my child, because ready is the only posture that will let you receive what is already on its way to you. If this message is stirring something in your heart, you can sow a seed of faith today as an act of trust in this season where I am moving the one I prepared toward your door. It is not about the amount, it is about the declaration that you believe God is already moving on your behalf. You can sow your seed through the link in the description below. Let it be your way of saying, I trust the timing and I am ready to receive what has been prepared for me. Now let me show you the 3 things I have been building inside you, my child, because you are not being sent into this meeting empty or unformed or unprepared. I have been shaping you for it in ways you mistook for hardship and even for punishment. The first thing I built in you is discernment. I gave it to you so that you would recognize the one I am sending, even if they do not look like the picture you painted in your mind. The real one rarely arrives in the packaging we imagined. Beloved, and without discernment, you would look right at them and walk away because they came in an unexpected form. The second thing I built in you is capacity. Those seasons that overwhelmed you, the ones where you felt stretched far past what you thought you could hold, were not breaking you. Though they felt like breaking at the time, they were expanding you. I was making room in you for what is coming, because a small vessel cannot hold a large thing, and I refused to bring you something too big for the space you had. So I stretched the space. What felt like breaking was expansion, my child. And the third thing I built in you is a purified heart. I stripped the desperation out of you. I burned away the neediness that would have made you grasp at this person as if they were the last life raft on a sinking sea. I did that on purpose, my beloved, so that when they arrive, you will receive them as a gift and not clutch at them as a solution. If you can feel the difference between those two postures, even now, if some part of you recognizes that you have spent years grasping and are finally ready to simply receive, type "someone is being sent" in the comments and say it like you already know that it is true. And I want to say a word to the part of you that is afraid you will not be enough when the moment finally comes, my child. Because I know that fear is sitting there quietly underneath your hope. You will not have to perform, beloved. You will not have to prove yourself or impress anyone or become someone other than who you already are in order to be worthy of what I am bringing to your door. The very things you have been most ashamed of, the tenderness you were told was too much, the depth you learned to hide, the way you feel everything so strongly, are the exact things I formed in you for this. What the wrong ones called weakness, the right one will recognize as the treasure it always was. So, lay down the fear of being too much, my beloved, and lay down the fear of being not enough, because both of those lies were planted in you by people who were never assigned to you, and neither of those lies gets to walk into this room. And do not shrink this down, my child, into only the shape your heart keeps rehearsing. Because what is going to look at first like a small and ordinary encounter is going to carry an impact wildly out of proportion to its size. Let me tell you what the meeting itself may look like, so that you do not miss it by waiting for fireworks that were never going to come. It might seem completely ordinary, a brief conversation, a casual introduction that no one else in the room even notices. 5 minutes that look from the outside like nothing at all. Ruth 2:23 says, "And her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz." It looked like chance. It looked like she simply happened to walk into that particular field on that particular day at that particular hour. But it was the most arranged moment of her entire life. My beloved, an appointment dressed up as an accident. Your meeting may wear the very same disguise. It may look like coincidence. It may look like you simply happened to be there. And the way you will know it was me, my child, is this. The results will be enormous compared to how small the moment seemed. In the days that follow, you will keep thinking about what was said. You will keep noticing how that one small moment quietly unlocked other things. There will be a clear before and after, a line drawn cleanly through your life. And on one side of it stands the you who had not yet had that conversation, and on the other side stands the you who did. That is my signature, beloved. The impact always bigger than the interaction. So do not despise the smallness of the beginning, and do not let an ordinary surface fool you into looking past the very thing you have been praying for. If you are deciding right now to stay awake and watchful so that you do not walk past your own miracle, type "I will not miss it" in the comments and mean it. And here, my child, is the very heart of what I want you to carry into this meeting, because it is the pillar that everything else stands upon. The one I am sending is carrying 3 specific things, and they are for you. Hear each one carefully. Beloved, the first is information. There is something you need to know that you do not currently have. A piece of understanding you have been missing. A truth about a situation or about yourself or about the road in front of you that has been kept just out of your reach, no matter how hard you searched for it. They are carrying that piece. And when it's placed in your hands, things that did not make sense are going to make sense. The second thing they carry is connection. There is a door, a person, a room, an opportunity that you cannot access on your own, no matter how hard you have knocked or how long you have waited outside it. They hold the key to it. What has stayed stubbornly closed to you is already open to them, and through them, it is about to open to you. The third thing they carry is confirmation, my child. There is something you've been doubting, something you almost gave up believing, something you have quietly wondered whether you only imagined, whether you were foolish to ever hope for, and they are carrying the confirmation of it. When they speak or when the moment unfolds, you are going to hear the very thing your spirit has been aching to have confirmed, and the doubt that has been gnawing at you for so long will finally have to sit down and be quiet. Information you need but do not have, connection you cannot reach alone, confirmation you've been starved for and had almost stopped expecting. That, my beloved, is what is walking toward your door. So do not receive it as a small thing. Receive it as the answer it is, beloved. Type 1, receive this now in the comments, and say it in the present tense as someone who already knows it is being placed into your hands. My child, do not walk this road alone. Follow this channel and join the ones who have kept their hearts open to me. Every time you return here, you are saying yes to me again, and I honor every heart that stays. Now I have to protect you from the one mistake that could poison the whole gift. My beloved, and I say it only because I love you far too much to leave it unspoken. This person is not coming to complete you, beloved. Hear that slowly and let it land. They are not coming to fix you or to save you or to fill the empty place you have been trying to fill with them in your imagination for months. If you meet them from that posture, from lack, from emptiness, from the desperate hope that they will finally be the thing that makes you whole, you will crush the very gift I am bringing before it ever has a chance to grow. You will grasp when you were meant to receive. Beloved, you will lean your entire weight on someone I sent to walk beside you and not to carry you. So I am asking you to come to this from wholeness, my child, not from the hole in you, from the whole of you. You are already whole in me. You were whole before they ever appeared on the horizon of your life, and you will remain whole no matter what shape this finally takes. They are not the solution to your emptiness, beloved, because I already filled that place. And I did the filling on purpose, precisely so that you would never hand that sacred and impossible job to a human being who was never meant to hold it and would collapse under the weight of trying. Receive them as an addition to what is already complete in you, not as the missing piece without which you fall apart. That is the only way a heart can hold something this valuable without breaking it and without breaking under it. If that truth lands in you, if you can feel the difference between grasping and receiving finally settle into your bones, type "I come from wholeness" in the comments and let heaven hear you say it. Because when two whole people meet, my child, something is built between them that lasts. But when two halves collide, something is consumed, and both are left emptier than before. I am not bringing you a half to press desperately against your half in the hope that together you might add up to one. I am bringing you someone whole to combine what you each already carry into something that neither of you could ever create alone. You are not meeting to complete each other. You are meeting to collaborate, beloved, to take what I placed in you and what I placed in them, and to join the two into a thing that heaven has been waiting a long time to see brought into the world. That is why the others had to go, my beloved. Not because your longing was ever wrong, and not because wanting connection is a sin, but because true collaboration requires two people standing on their own feet. And I have spent this entire season teaching you gently and sometimes painfully how to stand. And let me tell you what this collaboration will feel like from the inside, my child, so that you can recognize it and not shrink back from it when it comes. It will not feel like losing yourself. beloved. So many of the connections you have known asked you to disappear a little more with each passing day, to grow quiet, to make yourself smaller, so that someone else could feel larger in the room. This one will feel like the opposite of that. In this one, you will feel more like yourself, not less. You will feel your gifts come alive instead of going dormant. You will feel drawn toward the very calling that others once tried to talk you out of. That is how you will know it is a true joining and not another slow erasure, my beloved. Real connection expands you. It never once requires your disappearance. The one I am sending was built to make you more of who you already are, not less. And if your heart feels full right now, think of someone else who needs to hear these words. You can sow a seed in their name through the link in the description below as a prayer that this same peace finds them. When you give in faith for another, you plant something that God multiplies back into your own life. And now, my child, I must turn and speak with a different weight in my voice. Because there's an accounting that has to be named, and I cannot name it in the same soft tone I have used with you until now. You have hoped in people before who were never assigned to you. That is the plain truth of it. And it is time it was said out loud in the open. There were ones who came before, ones I never sent, whom you welcomed anyway because you were lonely and they were present. And being wanted felt, for a while, like being loved. They took your trust and left you doubting whether real connection was even possible for someone like you. There were ones who looked directly at your value and walked away from it, who held something rare in their hands and set it down as though it were nothing. And their leaving quietly taught you to question your own worth. And behind all of them stands the one who will try in the very days just ahead to distract you from this appointment entirely. To make you too busy to notice it, to whisper that it is too good to be true. Hear the accounting now in the authority of the one who kept the record. I saw every one of them. I was standing in every room you were overlooked in. And I want you to understand exactly what I was doing so that you stop reading it as rejection. I removed the wrong ones to make room. That was not me abandoning you. That was me clearing the ground. Every one of them who walked away was a distraction being lifted out of the room before the real thing could arrive. And the one I am sending now will see you in a way those who left never could. They will look at the very value that others overlooked and stepped past, and they will recognize it and they will honor it. And those who walked away so certain that what they left behind was worth leaving will one day watch from a distance what I do through this appointment. And they will finally understand what they were holding when they let it go. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn." The weapons were formed. I will not pretend to you that they were not, but they shall not prosper, and they shall not have the final word over your future. This is not revenge, and I am not asking you to seek it. This is vindication, and it belongs to me alone. Your part is only to stay open while I settle what the wrong ones cost you. If you are ready to hand the whole accounting to me and keep your own hands free for what is coming, type, "Let heaven be my witness" in the comments, and let it be your surrender and never your vengeance. So do not let the ones who were never assigned to you write the rules for the one who is. Do not let old betrayals sit as judges over someone who has not yet harmed you. The enemy would love nothing more than to use the wrong ones from your past to make you miss the right one in your future. That is his oldest trick, and it is the one thing that could still spoil this. Do not give it to him, beloved. Let the record I have kept be enough for you, my child, and let me carry what you were never meant to carry into that room. And now let me show you something about this surprise that you have not yet considered. My beloved, Because this one encounter is not a single isolated event. It is a key. It is the first domino in a long line of them. Beloved, when I told you that everything shifts, I did not only mean something inside your heart. I meant your circumstances, your opportunities, the very landscape of your life. This meeting is designed to unlock multiple doors at once, my child. Opportunities that you thought had died and gone cold are going to reappear because this person, or what this person quietly sets in motion, reaches places you were never able to reach on your own. Resources you have needed and prayed for are going to show up. Some through them directly, some through the doors they open, some through a chain of events that begins with a single ordinary conversation and travels further than you could trace. Clarity you have begged for is going to download into you. Questions that have tormented you for years finally answered, sometimes almost in passing, as though it cost heaven nothing to give you what you cried for. Situations that have been stuck, frozen solid, immovable for so long that you gave up pushing on them are going to break open because this one appointment is the pressure point I designed to release them all. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you ask or think." That is precisely what I'm telling you tonight, my child. I am about to do immeasurably more than you have asked for, more than you have even known how to think to ask for. And the whole cascade begins with one door that is going to look at first glance like nothing much at all. One meeting, 100 consequences. Beloved, that is how I work, and I have always worked this way. And I want you to hold this next part gently, my child, because it is easy to hear about doors opening and immediately begin striving to force them open yourself. You do not have to force any of this. Beloved, you do not have to chase it or manufacture it or make it happen through the sheer exhaustion of your own will. Your striving was never what moved these doors, and your striving is not what will move them now. I am the one moving them. All that is being asked of you is that you stay ready and stay willing, that you keep your hands open and your heart awake to notice. The cascade begins with me, and it flows through the one I send, and it reaches you not because you finally earned it, but because I love you, and the time has at last come. So rest, my beloved. Rest is not the opposite of faith. Sometimes rest is the truest form of faith there is. What you have heard today is only the beginning. There is more I want to show you in the days ahead. Follow this channel so you can walk the rest of this journey with me, because I am not finished speaking over your life. And let me tell you how they will feel when they finally meet you, my child, because it will help you recognize the moment when it comes. When this person sees you, something is going to stir in them that they will not be able to explain, a sense of recognition as though they have known you somewhere before, though they have never once laid eyes on you. A feeling of the sacred, quiet, and unmistakable settling over what looks on the surface like an entirely ordinary encounter, beloved. And a sense of safety in your presence that will not make any logical sense to them. An ease that arrives far faster than reason should allow. They will not understand why, but you will, my beloved, because you will remember what I told you here tonight. I designed this connection with my own hands. I ordained it before either of you drew your first breath. That is why it will feel less like meeting a stranger and more like remembering someone. That is why it will feel like coming home to a place that neither of you has ever been. Do not talk yourself out of that feeling when it comes. It is not your imagination. It is the fingerprint I left on this appointment so that you would know it was mine. Do not be surprised, my child, if in the very first moments you feel a strange calm rather than a rush of excitement. You have been trained by chaos to expect that love arrives loud, that the real thing announces itself with fireworks and a racing heart, because for so long intensity was the only signal you were ever given. But my peace is quieter than that. Beloved, when the right one is near, you may notice more than anything else that you can finally exhale, that the striving in you goes still, that you are not performing, not bracing, not managing the moment, but simply present inside it. Do not mistake that calm for the absence of something real, my beloved. Very often that calm is the presence of the very thing you have been praying for all along, arriving in a form your heart has never before been allowed to trust. Learn the sound of my peace, and do not be afraid of it when it comes to you, quieter than the storms you had grown used to. Now hear my counsel, my child, on how to be ready, because readiness is the only assignment I am giving you in this. I am not going to hand you a list of rules to perform, because performance is the very thing I have been trying to free you from. I am simply going to tell you how to stay in the posture that lets the surprise find you. Stay present. Come down off the autopilot that a long, hard season quietly trained you into, that low numbness that keeps your eyes down and your attention somewhere far away. Because the meeting may arrive in the most ordinary moment, and autopilot will walk you straight past it without ever looking up. Follow your intuition when I nudge you. When something in you says, stay a little longer, say yes to the invitation you were about to decline. Take the other road. Speak to the person you would normally pass in silence. Do not override that quiet prompting with your careful reasoning. That nudge is me, beloved, moving you into position. Release your script of what this is supposed to look like. It may come in packaging you did not order and would never have chosen. It may not match the picture you have rehearsed in your mind 10,000 times. So hold your expectations with an open hand, my child. Loosely, gently, so that you do not reject the real thing for the crime of failing to resemble the imagined one. And be your authentic self, not a performance. Do not edit yourself down for this meeting, my child. Do not put on the polished, agreeable, carefully managed version of who you think you were supposed to be. The one I am sending was prepared for the real you, the unguarded you. The one you have hidden behind the performance for so long that you have almost forgotten she is still in there, waiting to be allowed out. Be her, my beloved. That is the whole of the readiness I am asking of you, and it is lighter than anything you have been carrying. And here is a gentle word about the readiness itself, my child, so that you do not quietly turn even this into another performance. Being ready does not mean being perfect, beloved. It does not mean you must have every wound healed, every fear resolved, and every question answered before the surprise is permitted to come. If that were ever the requirement, no one would be ready, and I would be waiting still. Readiness is simply a posture of the heart that says yes before it fully sees. It is the open hand instead of the clenched fist. It is the willingness to be interrupted by grace. You can be only halfway through your healing and still be ready. You can still be tender in places, still be learning, still be unsure of so much, and be exactly the one I choose to surprise. So do not let the enemy convince you that you must first become flawless before you are allowed to receive. Come as you are, my beloved. As you are is precisely how I am sending them to find you. And because I love you, my child, I have to warn you about what is coming in the hours and the days just ahead before the surprise ever reaches your door. Something is going to try to make you miss it, beloved. The enemy knows this appointment is already set, and he knows he cannot cancel it. So he will try instead to distract you right out of it. He will try to fill your days with so much noise and so much busyness that you are too preoccupied and too exhausted to notice the moment when it finally comes. He will whisper that it is too good to be true, that you had better not get your hopes up again, that hoping is the very thing that got you hurt the last time. He will stir up the old fear so that you read the unfamiliar kindness of the right person as a hidden threat and pull away from the exact thing you prayed for. When that pressure comes, my beloved, do not be afraid of it, and do not misread what it is. That doubt is not a sign that this was wrong. It is confirmation that it was right, because the enemy does not waste his strength fighting for the things that do not matter. So, when the whisper comes telling you to close the door, to lower your expectations, to go back to sleep, and stop believing, do not obey it. Do not let doubt override your discernment, because if you let doubt take hold of the wheel, you will drive right past the one I sent, and you may never know they were there at all. Stay awake, my child. Stay watchful. Keep the door of your heart open, even when fear is leaning its whole weight against it. If you are deciding right now to keep your heart open, no matter what tries to shut it, type "I stay open" in the comments and mean it as a vow you are making to me and to yourself. And I want you to understand why you are able to receive all of this tonight. My child, when so many would have scrolled right past it without a second glance because you did not skip this message. My child, because you stayed still, when stillness is the hardest thing in a world that is built from the ground up to keep you moving. Because you chose to remain present when everything around you was pulling at your attention and demanding you look away. Heaven has held something in reserve specifically for the ones who stay all the way to the end. And you, my beloved, are one of them. The readiness you needed for this encounter was hidden inside this very moment, and you would have missed it entirely if you had left. But you did not leave, so it is yours now, beloved. What comes next in your days was already prepared for you, but it required this. It required you to stop and stay and receive the word that would let you walk toward your own door with your eyes open and your heart still alive. And you did exactly that. So it will come, and you will be ready when it does. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." Hear the word expected, my child, in heaven. This is not a surprise at all. It is expected. It has been on the calendar since before you were ever born. The only one it will surprise is you, and even you have felt it coming. In the restlessness, in the stillness, in the quiet knowing you could never quite put into words. So let me settle it over you one final time before I send you out into these days. My child, your surprise is at the door. My beloved, it carries information you need and do not have, connection you cannot reach on your own, and confirmation of the very thing you have been doubting. It comes not to complete you, but to collaborate with the wholeness I have already built in you. Beloved, and it is only the first of many doors that are about to open in a long and beautiful line. If everything in you is saying yes to that right now, type "My surprise is at the door" in the comments, and say it as someone who can already hear the knock. So, come close now, my beloved, and let me pray this over you the way a father prays over a child he is sending out into a new and better season. I thank you, Father, for this one standing in front of me tonight, for every door you closed to protect what you are still forming in them, for every lonely night that quietly deepened their hunger for something real and true, for every time they wanted to give up and rose again in the morning instead. Now, my daughter, receive what heaven speaks over your life. Receive readiness where fear once made you numb, beloved. Receive discernment to recognize the one I send, even when they come in unexpected packaging. Receive the capacity I stretched into you and the purified heart I formed in you through everything you endured. And receive the surprise itself, standing even now at your door as my gift to you, as my answer to the prayers you have prayed and to the prayers you have not even known to pray yet. Stay ready, my child. Stay present, my beloved. Stay open. Receive it well when it comes and steward it wisely, because what I place into ready hands, I keep and I multiply. You will not open that door alone, my beloved. I will be standing right beside you when you do. I have never once left you to answer a door by yourself. and I am not about to begin now. As we come to the end, hold in your heart the one thing you are believing for right now. If you feel led, you can sow a final seed of faith for that very thing through the link in the description below. Do it not out of pressure, but out of trust, knowing that God honors every faithful heart. And whether you sow or simply stay, may peace cover you. May every door meant for you open, and may you walk fully into the miracle that has already begun. Amen.